In the world of martial arts, few names carry the same weight as Bruce Lee, and few stories have sparked as much debate as his encounter with Vic Moore. For most, Bruce Lee is a legend, a blur of motion and intensity, a symbol of speed, strength, and philosophy fused into one human being. But behind the myth lies a real man, driven by discipline, shaped by hardship, and misunderstood by many who only saw the image and not the essence. The story of Bruce Lee and Vic Moore is more than a contest of reflexes. It's a story about perception, ego, and the thin line between demonstration and confrontation. To understand that story, we must first go back to where it all began. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco on November 27, 1940, during his parents' visit to the United States. His father, Lee Hoi Chen, was a renowned Cantonese opera performer. His mother, Grace Ho, came from a mixed Chinese and European background. Born on American soil, Bruce was automatically a U.S. citizen, something that would shape his destiny later in life. When the family returned to Hong Kong, the world was changing. War erupted as Japan invaded, and the Lees lived under occupation for years. But even in hardship, Bruce was destined for performance. As a child, he appeared in films, earning the nickname Little Dragon. Born in both the year and hour of the dragon according to the Chinese zodiac. By his teenage years, he had acted in more than 20 films. Yet he was restless and rebellious. His father struggled with addiction, and Bruce often found himself fighting in the streets. Seeking discipline, he began training in Wing Chun under the legendary IP Man. Many students refused to spar with him because of his mixed heritage, but Bruce refused to quit. He trained privately, perfecting his technique with relentless focus. By 18, he had already won a school boxing championship. And surprisingly, he was also an exceptional dancer, winning the Hong Kong Cha-Cha Championship. But after one dangerous street fight, his parents realized their son needed a new path. They sent him to the United States to start over. At 18, Bruce returned to San Francisco, then settled in Seattle. He worked in a restaurant and continued his education. During this time, he began teaching martial arts, his own version of Wing Chun, which he called Jun Fan Gung Fu. He opened a small school that welcomed students of all races and backgrounds, breaking an unspoken tradition that Chinese martial arts should not be shared with outsiders. Later, he moved to Oakland, partnering with James Yim Lee to open another school. In 1964, at a martial arts demonstration in Long Beach, Bruce amazed the crowd with his one-inch punch, sending a man flying backward with almost no visible motion. It was at this event that Bruce first caught the attention of Hollywood producers. But fame wasn't his goal. His purpose was evolution. Bruce Lee was not just a fighter. He was a thinker. He studied philosophy, biomechanics, and human psychology. He rejected the idea of rigid styles and founded his own concept, Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. It wasn't a style, it was a philosophy. Absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. For Bruce, martial arts were not about tradition, but about truth. He analyzed movement like a scientist, measuring timing, distance, and reaction speed. He trained to be faster than human reflexes could follow. He practiced what he called non-telegraph strikes, attacks so subtle that an opponent couldn't anticipate them. He could hit from any angle, without warning. He studied fencing to perfect his sense of timing, boxing for rhythm and footwork, judo and wrestling for grappling control. Every motion was stripped of waste. His fighting style was pure efficiency. He also trained his body like an athlete, weightlifting, running, stretching, and even experimenting with nutrition long before it became mainstream. He blended Western science and Eastern philosophy into a new way of thinking about combat and life itself. His teachings inspired many future legends: Dan Inosanto, Chuck Norris, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and countless others. But with fame and confidence came controversy. Many traditionalists resented Bruce for breaking with martial orthodoxy, for teaching non-Chinese students, for speaking his mind. One such controversy led to his encounter with Vic Moore. Vic Moore was a respected American karate champion, one of the first African-American martial artists to gain national recognition. Born in 1943, Moore trained under Robert Trias, the father of American karate, and mastered several disciplines, including Bando and kickboxing. He was known for his toughness and skill, having competed against some of the best fighters of his era. By the mid-1960s, Moore was a seasoned martial artist with a deep understanding of timing and speed. In 1967, Bruce Lee and Vic Moore both appeared at the Long Beach International Karate Championships, hosted by Ed Parker. The event drew some of the biggest names in martial arts. During a demonstration, Bruce decided to show the audience the principle of interception, how to strike faster than an opponent could react. To prove his point, he invited volunteers from the audience to try to block his punch. Several martial artists stepped forward. None succeeded. Bruce would stand in front of them, calm and relaxed, then strike toward their chest or face. His hand would stop just short of impact, faster than the eye could follow. When Vic Moore stepped forward, the demonstration took on a life of its own. Bruce positioned himself, gave Moore a signal, and launched a lightning-fast strike. He stopped just before contact, smiling. The crowd reacted with awe. But later, rumors spread that Vic Moore had actually blocked some of Bruce's punches, or that the footage had been edited to make Bruce look faster. Moore himself claimed years later that he had successfully blocked several blows, and that the film only showed the moments when he didn't. Others present at the event insisted Bruce's speed was unmatched, and that Moore never landed or blocked a single shot. The truth remains clouded by time, pride, and perception. What's clear is that the event was never meant to be a fight. It was a demonstration, an experiment in timing and control. But as with many legends, stories grew, and soon people were debating who won the encounter, as if it had been a contest. Bruce never claimed victory. He simply demonstrated his principle, that anticipation is slower than action. Yet the deeper story here isn't about who was faster. It's about what Bruce represented. He was challenging the limits of human movement, breaking barriers of culture, and inspiring a new way of thinking. He believed the ultimate opponent was not another person, but one's own limitations. In the years that followed, Bruce Lee became a global phenomenon. His roles in The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, and Enter the Dragon turned him into an icon. His philosophy spread beyond martial arts, into sports, psychology, and cinema. But his life was tragically short. On July 20th, 1973, Bruce Lee died suddenly at the age of 32. The cause was reported as cerebral edema, swelling of the brain. The world was stunned. Conspiracy theories followed. Some said it was foul play. Others blamed exhaustion, overtraining, or even a curse. His death mirrored his father's early passing, fueling speculation of a Lee family tragedy. But beyond the mystery, one truth remains. Bruce Lee's impact transcended time. He changed the way the world viewed not only martial arts, but the human potential itself. As for Vic Moore, he continued to teach and promote martial arts for decades, maintaining his own version of events. Whether he blocked those punches or not no longer matters. What matters is that two great martial artists, from very different worlds, crossed paths in a moment that became legend. In the end, Bruce Lee's story was never about proving superiority. It was about freedom. Freedom from limitation, from dogma, from fear. His legacy reminds us that mastery is not about defeating others, but about understanding oneself. His speed was not just in his fists. It was in his mind, his adaptability, and his refusal to be confined by the expectations of others. That's why, more than 50 years later, we still talk about him. because Bruce Lee wasn't just fast, he was timeless.